I'll show you my boobies if I get 1,000 subs by the end of the month. See, I just said it. I'm honest. Everyone else just tries to tiptoe around it, acting like they're all innocent or something. I'm just gonna say it. I want to show you my tits. That's pretty much where the internet society is right now anyways, isn't it? I'm gonna bribe you and hustle you for your time and money. That's business, bitch. And no, I'm not showing you my tits, by the way. Alright, so if you're curious if you're actually stupid or not, I think I devised the perfect test. Alright, so step 1, go to a gas station or grocery store and purchase some warheads. Step 2, return home with your super sour warhead candies. Step 3, remove warhead from wrapper and insert into rectum. Step 4, if you've completed steps 1 through 3, congratulations, you're stupid. Have a nice day and enjoy your warheads. So it turns out I'm extremely violent, and I realize that more the older I get. It's like after a while I gotta catch myself, just like, damn, holy shit, thank God there are laws to keep my crazy ass in check. Like, don't get me wrong, I love being friendly. Like, not everyone has to like you don't have to like everyone, but you could at least be pleasant to be around, right? But at the same time, you can talk to some people and just know it's going to go absolutely nowhere. And someone's going out of their way to make a problem for you and everyone around you. And it's like, okay, you can handle things politically and wait for God knows how long and hopefully it doesn't escalate more. Or, if I know it's headed down that path, I can just beat the shit out of you. And I know a lot of people say that, but I truly mean it. So we've talked a lot about buttholes and wieners, so I think it's time to talk about vaginas. I like vaginas. And also, I think vaginas kind of reflect the personality of the woman. Because if that thing's beaten up, her life is probably beaten up, and you probably shouldn't associate with her. And if it's nice and put together, you know her life is nice and put together. Like, the older you get, the more you can appreciate a nice, pretty, healthy vagina. Like, it's not even like a sexual thing, it's more or less just like an appreciation. Just like, wow, ma'am, you have a very pretty vagina, good job. Like, you could just see one and be like, oh, that is a very pretty vagina, ma'am. You've been doing a great job, keep going. Shout out to all the women out there keeping their shit together. When it comes to colors, you have to immediately get violent. 9? Yeah, that's about when I lost my V card. Just play the flute. Well, that's kind of gay, but okay. I just roll up in there like, yo, what up, bitches? I was crowned prom queen? Wow, okay. We make friends, we lose friends, and then we insult them. Alright, fuck you, Maya, bring it. I make enemies for fun, bitch. It is what it is. Constipation. That's an uncivilized gastrointestinal movement. Oh great, everyone's suffering from constipation. This is an uncivilized family genetic gene pool. No, I don't trust it. He could be the cause of the constipation virus. Fair enough. I would have lit him on fire, but okay. The law is only as powerful as the one enforcing it. Black magic. Now see, that's motivating. I injured my spleen while masturbating. It took 8 weeks to heal. This bitch is using voodoo magic on my genitals. That is unacceptable. Ooh, heroin. Nice. Oh, I mean, that's awful. You should never do that. Yeah, I'm pretty stupid. Well, I guess if we've learned anything from this, it's to take life in your own hands and not let it go up to RNG, or just the whims of everything around you. Otherwise, you'll end up an unemployed loser suffering from voodoo magic and dying of a heroin overdose. So be brave. So stand-up comedy is the only thing I could picture myself doing as I grew up. I know most people wanted to be astronauts or doctors, but I was only good at saying inappropriate things, okay? Let's stick to that. So looking back at my shorts, it pretty much is stand-up comedy if you think about it, because I prefer to just improv anyway. So all my videos were literally just me having a thought on the spot, and then just recording it. So really, I've been doing stand-up comedy while being an anime character, sitting down in my bedroom, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't know, as niches go, are there any stand-up comedian VTubers? If not, this is me filing a patent in real life. I was the first stand-up VTuber. Suck it. So the craziest thing happened today. Wanna know what happened? I woke up. Ain't that some shit? Because I hear sometimes people don't wake up, which sucks to be them, because I got to enjoy a steak and some macaroni salad. And I bet that tastes way better than dirt and maggots. Let's talk about paper and plastic bags today because I'm autistic. So at least here in America, it's like this ongoing fight between paper and plastic, which initially you wouldn't mind, right? But little do you know, the quality is absolute fucking garbage. Is it just me or the quality of bags completely deteriorating? Like paper bags explode on impact the second you touch them. Plastic bags are so fucking weak they can't even hold weed anymore. It's just like, damn, if I were to try to hide my weed in one of these bags, it would just break. I'd be like, damn officer, I'm sorry, it's super awkward, huh? So it's like the quality is getting shittier, and they're expecting us to pay money for them now? So you mean to tell me I gotta pay 15 cents for a bag I used to get for free, and it's the shittier version? I'm not paying for shit. Give me my fucking bags, bitch. So it happened again. I kept getting compliments about how good I smelled, after I skipped taking a shower, and was up jerking off all night, or gooning as the kids call it nowadays. So I go to work like a filthy degenerate, just covered in my own shame, and all the girls compliment my smell. It's kinda interesting how that works. I don't know, I've come to the conclusion that my cum must be scented or something. It's not like I have a good diet, so it's not like the whole pineapple life hack that you can do. I don't know, I think it goes back to pheromones like I had mentioned before. I don't fucking know, let me know if that's a thing. Cologne scented cum. One of the funny things about keeping yourself secluded in your bedroom is that whenever you do leave your bedroom, it feels like you're breaking into your own house for some reason. Like you're sneaking around like some crime ninja. And it doesn't help that whoever else is in the house will see you and then they kind of look surprised. And it gets to the point to where even if it is just you in the house, you tend to feel awkward and weird no matter what. But yeah, I know I'm not the only one to have felt that, and I think it's pretty funny. So shoutouts to this commenter here for reminding me how much I say meow in my real life. Cause no shit, I just try to fit it in with anything and everything that I can. I think Super Troopers just got to me. But no shit, I do that shit all day at work, and that's all I do is customer service. Like if you come into my store, I'm the upfront dude. Like I'm the face of the store. If you got questions, you gotta go through me, and I feel so fucking sorry. I think what it is people think I'm just trying to say ma'am. Like I'll just throw it in at the end, I'll be like, alright, you have a good day, meow. Or I'll just walk up and be like, alright, what's going on, meow? And I've legit been doing that nonstop for at least 6 or 7 months now. And legit, no one has said a fucking word. Only one of my coworkers I've noticed. She's like, yeah, no one said anything, so I just went with it. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. I'm just seeing how long I can get away with it until someone brings it up. Isn't it so crazy how sometimes artificial flavors taste better than the real things that they're based on? Like, I can't stand actual real blueberries. I think they suck. But anything blueberry flavored is absolutely delicious. Or like cherry. I like the artificial flavor of cherry, but I don't like actual cherries. I think flavors on the flip side of that are probably grapes and pineapples. Because I love real-life grapes and pineapples, but their artificial counterparts are fucking disgusting for some reason. There are some exceptions for the pineapple flavor, but you know, that's few and far between. But I don't know, I just find it intriguing. On the quest of flavor perfection. So my parents gave me pubic hair lice one time when I was a kid. And no, it's not what you're thinking, though it would have been more straightforward. No, instead they decided to be degenerates and go to a swingers party. And being the unclean abominations that they are, I'm assuming they were just spending all night raw dogging everyone. So they came home that night, and I happened to have a nightmare. And you know, the reflex as a kid, you know, you want to cuddle up with your parents. Like, Mommy, Daddy, I'm scared, hold me. So I slept in the bed with them that night. Little did they know, they had picked up some hitchhikers along the way that happened to come in the form of extremely aggressive organisms known as pubic hair lice. So yeah, that was an awkward next couple of days. But yeah, my parents gave me crabs. Being pregnant must put you in the most awkward, weird situations imaginable sometimes. So to me, I think you deserve a Medal of Honor. But the shit I'm talking about isn't the normal shit, because of course it isn't. It's the weird stuff that comes along with it. Like there's always the awkwardness of people guessing if you're just fat or pregnant. I've seen that happen in real time a few times. It was pretty awkward, but super funny for me nonetheless. Not to mention you feel like everyone's watching you in general, but you don't know what kind of looks. It could be dirty looks, because we all know how that baby got there. So you can only imagine what's going on through some people's imaginations. Or you'll get the crazy ass old people that just say weird crazy shit to you, that are like going through dementia and just spout nonsense. It's kind of what I want to do, honestly. Like just say some fucked up shit that just sticks into their head. Of course I'm not going to do it because it's super fucked up, but just to see that look in their eye would just be priceless. At least once. Like just go up to them all friendly, to be like, oh my god, you're expecting? Congratulations! It's too bad it's going to be born retarded. Just to feel the energy in the room just be drained. And what's even crazier is you know she's going to be thinking about that throughout her entire pregnancy. That's the funny part to me in a fucked up way. But once again, I have fucked up thoughts, don't mind me. I'm a good boy, I promise. Y'all want to hear something gross and personal? Perfect. So I've been getting bored while pooping and I've been experimenting with different positions. For shits and giggles, you can say. Some L-sits, splits, you know, the huge. But it really bothers me because I enjoy sitting Indian style. And it is apparently the one way you're not allowed to poop when sitting on the toilet. Believe me, I've tried. But it made me realize I think our ancestors were onto something. You know, we thought they were stupid cavemans going around digging holes in the ground and shitting in them. But as it turns out, if you could pop a squat in the Indian style while taking a shit, it's actually pretty cozy. Turns out shitting in a hole in the ground might not be so bad. So I met a super hot chick with one arm today. That was pretty cool, that was highlight worthy. So I saw her from the one side, and then when I got to the other side, I was like, well, I'll be damned. That's interesting. I'd still bang her. That made me realize something very important about myself. I would prefer someone have no arm than someone with an ugly face. Like if I'm checking her out, and she turns around, and I see her face and get scared, that poses a problem. So I guess I'd rather have a girl with one arm that's hot everywhere else. Learn something new every day, I guess. So I just went back and watched old videos of mine when I was medicated, and holy shit. It's so funny, it's like fucking night and day. Like when I'm medicated I could do long form content and editing, but I have the personality of a neutered, special needs snake. Or I could just be high on life like I always am, and I could rock the fuck out of short form content, and I have my personality, but expecting my attention span to last more than 30 seconds is asking a lot. If you ask me, I think both would enjoy laughing at each other. So I think I just found one of my new favorite activities. So what I'll do is I'll walk to McDonald's, because McDonald's is literally like a 5-minute walk from my house. I know, ironic, right? McDonald's and exercise? Say what? So I'll get McDonald's and walk back home. And as I'm walking home, on the way is like one of the busiest streets or highways. So I'll just start eating as I'm walking. And whenever I get to the intersection of this busy street, I'll hit the crosswalk button. And then instead of walking, I'll just stand there and stare at people who are stopped at the red light while I eat my food. And then whenever the light changes, I turn around and I finish walking home. So I pretty much stop and just stare at people who are driving while eating McDonald's in front of them like, yeah, take that motherfucker, I'm eating McDonald's, what are you doing? I don't know if it's a flex or a super dick move, but it's fun for me and I'm starting to look forward to it on my days off. So I love it when I get a mystery gift or a present from a friend, but not like just any gift, like a surprise gift, right? Like they're out and about and they're just like, hey, look, I got you this. I'm talking about the random gifts that throw you off. Like they'll just hand you something and be like, oh, here you go. And you look at it and you're like, oh, what does this do? They're just like, you'll know when the time comes. Immediately when they say something like that, I'm like, oh my God, I get super excited. Like if you hand me a mysterious item and say it'll come in handy in the future, there's no better way to make my day. And days to come. So where's my character AI bot? That's based on me. Because I said it before, if someone makes an AI bot of you, it means you've made it. And I looked and I didn't find myself. And I got upset for like 2 seconds, okay? That's a really long time for me. Someone said they'd make one of me and still haven't. So fuck you, man. I'm curious. I want to interact with it. I want to flirt with it. I want to practice role plays involving fingers. I think it would be great content to see who can get away with saying crazier shit. Me or my bot. And remember, never pull your dick out in public. Unless your fetish is getting arrested. In which case, you do you, king. I think the biggest turnoff for me is when I hear a woman say bro. It's like my brain gets that error screen where it's like connection to server lost. Like the second I hear a woman say bro, the connection from my brain to my wiener just completely shuts off. It's like they get an immediate debuff to feminine energy and gain a testosterone buff. In that moment, they grow a dick. And I'm no longer interested. Don't call me bro. I'm not your bro. You can call me daddy, but that's it. The second a woman calls me daddy or poppy, my heart just melts. And at that point, I really don't care if they take half of everything I own. Sorry, no trolling bit at the end of this video today. I woke up weak and nauseous and shitting more blood than I usually do. So I'm too tired to do one right now. So to make it up to you, I give you my express permission to make artwork of me sucking on a popsicle on a beach wearing a bikini. I think that's fair. Have fun. So you want to know the secret to marketing yourself? Guerrilla marketing. Get your ass out there and touch grass, people. So I'm at the gas station by my house, just making an ass of myself as is tradition. And I'm shooting shit with the employees and the topic of YouTube came up. Big mistake. So I immediately announced loudly and proudly, oh yeah, I do YouTube videos. I dress up like an anime girl and talk about sucking dicks. And immediately everyone in the gas station got their phone out. And that's how you fucking market, people. Marketing 101, get with it. And if you're from the gas station watching this, I appreciate you. And please, for God's sakes, don't tell anyone I'm white. That would really ruin my career. I think one of the funniest parts about getting old is how you're forced to make a noise for everyday movement. Like whenever you have to stand up or sit down, you immediately go oof, or ooh, or oi, because your body decides to develop a sense of humor and decides in order for you to move, you have to make a noise to either build momentum or to let out a quiet cry of pain. And don't get me started on the popping and snapping that comes with it. But that's what I get. Me and my sister used to make fun of my mama because she used to make those noises all the time whenever she'd go to get up and move. So that's karma, I guess. So I might have accidentally made the best quote ever, because people ask me all the time, right? Because I just do shit impulsively. It kind of gets on people's nerves and I get it. But they'll ask me, why don't you plan shit or try to do it effectively? In a timely manner, Make it predictable. I'm like, put it this way, right? When you plan shit, there's always a chance for it to fail. But when you randomly do shit, there's always a chance it'll succeed. And upon saying that, they usually give me this look like, fuck, that was good. So I'm a huge advocate of making sports as lewd as possible. Because regular sports is just getting boring now, let's be real. But even in today's age, where we tend to ludify everything, I'm surprised we haven't done anything with sports. I think the closest thing we have is like lingerie football and wrestling. But we need to step it up. Like I'm talking Olympic, super intense ping pong matches, where instead of using paddles, the women just use their tits. Or the part where you have to jump hurdles. Instead of a hurdle, you have a fake head attached to a wall, and the goal is to jump, turn around, and see how much damage you can do to the skull with your butt cheeks. I think that would be super intense and interesting. I'm sure it'll catch on soon enough, give it time. I'm talking sexy anime sports style, boys. So I almost choked to death again. And no, not on a dick, I know that's what you're thinking. No, it was arguably worse, it was a fucking donut.
It seems like I just don't know how to eat food effectively. I almost choked on a stromboli last time, but almost choking to death does make me realize something. For some reason, when you recover and decide to eat the rest of the food, it feels very fulfilling, like you've won. You know, it's like fighting a dragon and it almost kills you multiple times. But then you persevere and end up killing it, and then you eat that fucking dragon. And that's what I call victory. So this should go without saying, but if you intend to move to a different country that speaks a different language, you should probably learn the native fucking language. It comes in handy more than you think, believe me. And it can come down to life and death. You think I'm exaggerating? Here, I'll give you a story. Alright, so I'm walking to the park with my niece and nephew, right? This place is notorious for a bunch of snakes and shit. So we're walking, and we actually spot a good few of them too. Like literally like on the sidewalk and everything. So we're going around scanning for snakes, you know, just to be safe. And this Hispanic family walks by, probably a good like 5 or 6 of them. Yeah, it was 3 little kids, an older kid, and then the mom and dad. So we see them coming, and we're waving at them and pointing at the snakes like, hey, you know, be careful. Next thing you know, they get an attitude with us and start waving us away like, no habla English. And we're sitting here freaking out like, dude, there's snakes, be careful. And then what, 2 seconds later, one of the little kids almost steps on one. Of course, then the parents freak out and then start whipping out sticks and stuff. And a couple of those fucking snakes was poisonous too, so I'm sitting here looking at them, looking at the snakes, I'm like, yeah, you see, that's what I was trying to fucking tell you. Now all because you want to be a dick and not learn a language, your kid could have died. And I'm sitting here trying to save them, yet I'm the asshole. Like, you see that shit everywhere. Like, if you're learning, that's cool, but if you're just remaining ignorant on purpose and creating problems for people, like, that's just fucked up. So I'd have to say my favorite part about July 4th is when it turns into a PvP server. You know, like when people start whipping out the Roman candles and the bottle rockets, and it immediately turns into a combat zone. Something about whipping out Roman candles and pretending like you're a wizard, destroying each other's brain cells and hair cells in the process. Or whenever you whip out a bottle rocket and just throw it to the wind, and just let Jesus take the wheel. And sometimes it just so happens to steer into the direction of your neighbor's car and house. True fun comes at a cost, right? I think that's the mentality our founding fathers would appreciate. Alright, so it's occurred to me that I'm mentally ill and I can't come up with a normal idea to save my life. Because I like doing dumb mini-series on random topics. But no matter what idea I try to come up with, it occurs to me that it becomes an immediate shit show. Like, I should start a game show. I wonder what it should be about. Oh, I got it. Let's start one called Can It Centipede? Where we see which animals can statistically be human centipeded. Because I don't think you've thought about it enough. Imagine doing it with like a giraffe or something. Just don't think it's doable. Or an idea for another one. Do a literal reinterpretation of words. Like take crowbar, for example. Instead of it being a crowbar we know it as, it's going to be a bar made of crows. Like actual crows, like crow carcasses. Into the shape of like a metal bar or even like a bar of gold, except it's just a bar of carcass. I swear to God, I must have been a Nazi scientist in my past life or something, like Jesus Christ. When I go to the doctors, am I the only one secretly hoping that one of the doctors or nurses starts to flirt with me? It's like, hell yeah, easy mode activate. And some of you might be saying, oh, that's gold digging. To which I reply, hell yeah it is. Who doesn't want an easy life? Don't fucking lie to me. Though going to the doctors also reminds me about how shallow I am as a person, because I refuse to have an ugly doctor. I straight up told my last doctor that, because we didn't have good chemistry at all. So she's like, why do you continue to come to me? And I'm like, because you're attractive. And she just kind of looked confused. Because straight up, I don't want an ugly doctor. Because if I'm going to pretend to listen to someone for an hour, they better be hot. I'm not going to pretend to listen to an ugly person. So what's y'all's happy place? Imagination time, where you at? Because I guess even though people say happy place, I guess it could be an activity as well, right? Like anything that makes you feel the most coziest form of you. So if you want to swing on some apple trees by a river, if you want to lay down in a bed of clouds, shit, if you want to kick back and enjoy a milkshake while being fanned off by a bunch of big black wieners. You know, anything is possible, it's you. I don't know, I'm a simple type of guy. You ask me where I want to be, you put my ass right in my fucking bed. That's where I belong. So one time, one of my dad's friends decided to steal our car, which then initiated a high-speed chase, causing multiple car accidents, which ended with him offing himself and his wife seeking revenge. And it actually ended up in the front page news, in the newspaper for our county. I'll link the full video I did on it down below. I think it's an interesting story and it'd be a fun watch. So I haven't heard anyone talk about how the frogs are gay in a long time, but given the times we live in now, I'd have to say they succeeded. But no one's asking what's next. They keep thinking like that's like the final step. Come on, people, think. What do you think's next? You think they're just gonna stop at gay frogs? Hell no, man. We got gay fish on the way. Because that's what you do. If you have the ability to make an organism gay, you then move it to an organism where people interact with it, or I don't know, eat it a lot. So I don't know, man. Next time you go to your local supermarket, you know, just be careful. You might end up getting a gay fish. Then later on that week, you're gonna have some explaining to do to your wife. So I've got a divisive question. Are you a Fruity Pebbles kind of person, or a Cocoa Pebbles kind of person? I feel like no one really talks about it, but if you're a person that prefers Pebbles, you'll usually have a very specific kind that you like, and swear by it no matter what. So which do you prefer, Fruity or Cocoa? And what horrible things would you do to the person that agrees otherwise? Me personally, just the older I get, the less I prefer chocolate. Like even for ice cream now, I just get vanilla or strawberry. So I still love Cocoa Pebbles, but I gotta give it to Fruity Pebbles 100%. They never let me down, and I could just shovel it in my face all day and night long. So I guess it's like a meta of the internet now to be able to bribe or purchase our attention in some way. And I guess it's okay now. Everyone kind of knows, but nobody really says anything, at least not to the extent that we should. You know, if you want views or attention, you could just buy bots or buy the platform to kind of give you eyes, you know? Or if you don't have any skills but you need someone's attention, just be like, hey look, I can't show you my boobies here, but if you pay me, I could show you my boobies somewhere else. It's like all these scuffed up ways to use money or sex as like currency. Which, don't get me wrong, you know, that's business and marketing, you know, it is what it is. But at what point is it like a moral investment for the good, you know? Like at one point is it not like scamming or scummy? Like everyone's aggressively working against you, man. Even like the movie industries for kids and stuff, you know how they keep cutting frames, like anything that forces your attention to stay on their stuff. It all started with clickbaity thumbnails, and then it just snowballed from there. So once again, dumb thought and question, but useful nonetheless. I was contemplating where the scientifically most efficient spot to have a first date would be. Like, where would you go that meets societal standards, as well as learning things about them and secretly judge them, to help gather information to see if you connect or not. So I'm thinking like a farmer's market or something, right? You get to walk around, that's forced exercise, so you get to weed out the hogs doing that. And you get to see what their diet is, right? So you'll know if they're more on the physically conscientious side, or they could just be that fat and desperate and will eat anything. Either way, you know, I kind of respect it. So yeah, you know, you get to go out and enjoy a wholesome little activity while secretly judging them. And I'm thinking a flea market will be a good spot too, right? Because you walk around, you got all kinds of weird foods and activities. I think it's just efficient information gathering, and it's usually pretty cheap too. And if you don't like each other, you can just be like, alright, I gotta take a piss, and you can just dip out. So yeah, where do you think an efficient spot for a first date would go? That's both fun, minimizes awkwardness, and you can gather information. So when's the last time you were well rested? Well, I'll tell you what, I've finally been well rested the past couple of days, and I gotta say, I am a fucking asshole. So it turns out when I'm tired, I'm less confrontational, because I guess I'm tired, right? So I really don't want to have to put effort into anything. So if someone wants something, I'm just like, yeah, fuck it. If someone says something mean to me, I'm just like, yeah, screw it, fuck it. But now that I'm rested, I have the energy to handle any and all forms of confrontation, and I have to say, I kind of like it, but I also kind of hate it. Like, the second anyone says anything that bothers me, I just let them have it. Like, I don't know how I haven't gotten fired at work yet. I've probably told a dozen people to learn to speak English, another dozen people to learn how to do math, and then a couple more learn how to do a combination of both, or you have absolutely no reason to try to haggle anything with anyone. And don't get me wrong, it's refreshing to be the nice guy and then suddenly just lose all patience and just be like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna talk my shit. But at the same time, when being pleasant is your only good redeeming feature, you know, I kinda wanna hold on to that as long as I can. Alright, this is the video for the potheads. So as I'm going through my journey of reviewing different strains, and if you want to see them, look at the shorts, because they keep getting age restricted. So as I've said before, Sour Diesel is definitely my go-to strain, and it's the first time I've ordered it since my journey, so I was super excited about it, and the second I opened the bag, I realized why. That just fucking stanky, gassy smell. I need it in my life. All the cherry OGs, cookies and cream, all that shit's nice and all, but I've come to realize I need that fucking stank. I need it to smell like skunk and dead animal. Something so stinky that when someone smells it for the first time and doesn't know what it is, their reflex is to pucker up their face and be like, oh my god, it smells like shit. That's the stuff I like. So if you're a weed connoisseur, do you find yourself constantly going to one particular strain no matter what? Especially since I realize, for me, you just can't beat the gas, man. So this is going to be a list of 5 artists that I constantly find myself coming back to. In no order, I'm just going to list them, you know, not that anyone really cares anyways. But first off, I'm going to have to put Eminem and Lil Wayne, because I'm a 90s kid and that's what I listen to the most. And it'd be fucking criminal to not list them. Next up, hot take, we got Flowbots. I think they're underrated as fuck and no one really listens to them, but it's like alternative hip-hop pretty much. But if you want bars that mean stuff, then you gotta check them out. Second to none, I'm telling you, except maybe to M and Lil Wayne. Next up, we represent in the Bay Area with E40. I fuck with 40 Water. I love his beats and I love his delivery. OG, straight pimping and making money. Next up, and probably one of my most recent ones that I actually like, is Kendrick. Like, all his shit solid as fuck. And I appreciate that he tries out a bunch of different styles, too. Like, it's hard to find a motherfucker nowadays with a vision, you know? Real as fuck, that's what I'm talking about. And last up, probably another hot take. I'm gonna have to throw in Shrem Life. Ray Shremmerd. Like, if you're hanging out with someone or at a party or you're not sure what to throw on, just throw on some Ray Shremmerd. It's like perfect for energy control, you know? I fuck with it. Makes you feel young again, that's how I describe it. But yeah, that was a list of 5 off the top of my head, and I'd say everyone on this list did a pretty good job. So the world's becoming so dystopian now that things are getting so wild and nothing surprises me anymore. Like, I even have a prediction with streaming. Like, we all know because of AI that you could stream yourself as a completely different person in a completely different environment, but I'm waiting for them to implement things in real time for a viewer like Grok, to where you could just be watching someone and then just change who and what they are in real time. Like if you're watching a guy streamer, right? You can just type in bigger muscles and they'll suddenly grow big muscles. Or make him less bald and suddenly he'll grow hair on his head. And for women, you could just be like, give them big boobies. Or change their hair color. Or make them naked. So it essentially becomes like a customizable Build-A-Bear community. So it's like you can find a streamer you think is pretty good, and then you can fine-tune them in real time to perfectly match your liking at that moment. It honestly wouldn't surprise me. I'm kind of waiting on it.
So one of my dumb dream activities that I've always wanted to do is to just pop a Viagra and just go out in public and just go about my daily life just to see what happens. And just go to places and do things that purposely put me in weird situations. Like go to get your suit fitted or something. Or go to the gym. That's always a classic. And if you're getting all mad and offended, like, oh, that would be sexual harassment, blah, blah, blah. Relax, okay? I'll be safe. I'll put on a condom. But knowing me, I would get bored halfway through the day anyways, and I would try to invent something to do with my prolonged erection. Like, I would probably try to invent a new type of, like, softball or something.
Something that gets me really mad, on top of having anger issues in general, is seeing people wearing clothes dishonestly. Like when a woman wears really tight pants, or shorts, to hide the fact that she has cellulite, or is getting old and saggy. It's like we all know, you're not fooling anyone. You're lying to yourself and others, and it's also false advertising if you ask me. Or if a guy puts on a suit and acts like a scumbag. Like when I was working, I had a dude that would put on a suit and then start stealing shit from me. So I found it double insulting. So it's like you're gonna steal from me, and you're gonna have the audacity to dress in a fancy suit that if you sold, you can afford food for a week. Like, go fuck yourself. Dress up, move up, or strip down and drop down. There's something sexy about 2 women dressing up in lingerie and sacrificing a goat while I drink goat piss and watch. Things just make sense. It reminds me of simpler times. Now that I'm older and I've realized that human beings are disgusting creatures, it's hard to interact with people the same. Like whenever I talk to anyone, now my brain's immediately like, oh, you're into some freaky shit, ain't you? I've come to realize whatever most people do with their free time while they're alone, I'm probably better off not knowing. It's probably just me projecting because I'm a disgusting hellspawn. But when you realize you do something disgusting, like watching something while practicing fencing with your meat sword, or tickling the man in the boat, you know, you sometimes have a moment where you're like, wow, I can't believe I just did that. And then the immediate next thought is, wow, I'm not the only one to have watched this. And there's even freakier stuff out there. And there's obviously a viewer base for it. So it really puts things into perspective. So apparently I'm such a degenerate now that I forget my trash is garbage sometimes. Like I've had this empty box of cereal in my room for the longest time. And yet every time I clean my room, the thought never occurs to me to pick it up. I know some of y'all probably do it too, don't lie. It's like somewhere along the way you just kind of accepted it as part of your room. Until randomly you'll kind of look at it and be like, what is this doing here? Oh, well that's dumb, and then throw it away. So how many coincidences does it take until things start getting weird? Like how many times have things just magically worked out or fell into place? To the point to where it's kind of concerning. It almost feels like you're living in like a simulation or some shit. Like it happens in my life so fucking much, it's kind of scary. To where now when I say shit out loud, people kind of give me the side eye like, alright, you put this into motion, let's see what's gonna happen. Like I'll be in the grocery store and I'll be walking by something and I'll be like, oh, you know what would be really cool if it had a really specific this type of item. Then when I go through the store, right next to where I brought it up, boom, the perfect item that I just mentioned. Like I did that shit with cat treats the other day. I'm like, wow, it would be really nice if this had a soft version. Next day I go in there, boom, new product, soft version. Or you'll be talking to someone and be like, you know, it would be really cool if someone invented this thing. And then the next day my buddy will call me and be like, so guess what I just found that came out today? I'm like, yeah, you know, of course it did. Why wouldn't it? Coincidences like that are fun and trippy to walk into. It just gets a little weird when it happens a lot is all. Actually, you know what I would invest in if I had an unnecessary amount of money? I'd want to throw down on like a biodome type thing. Like I want an encapsulated environment with like a mini river system, and it'll be decorated with like Japanese red oaks and other like exotic colorful trees and vegetation and plant life, filled with a shit ton of cannabis plants and dinosaur-like birds and creatures. And the tempered glass that encapsulates it changes colors periodically, so like sometimes it'll be a blacklight type color, or sometimes it'll be like a creepy blood red, green, you know, any color, or just a combination of all the colors, you know, just like a swirl, like a rainbow effect. I would be curious to see how it would like affect the wildlife and everything. I think it would just be like the trippiest, most dangerous environment ever to go in. I think it'd be super cool to like build it and then film a series of people like adventuring into it. I think it'd be cool as fuck, man. That's a money making idea right there, boy. So I decided to eat cereal using chocolate milk. So I feel like I've hit the lowest point in my life. Now, depending on the cereal, I can see the logic behind it. But I don't know, something about doing it just feels dirty. Like it's a sin against God, or a crime against humanity or something. So yeah, I had a bowl of Reese's Puffs with some chocolate milk. It pains me to admit it, but it was actually pretty good. But yeah, this is actually a big moment in my life, which I'll explain later. So I'm kind of a dumb idiot, and if you didn't know that already, you definitely will now. So the first time I got caught smoking, the good old Mary Jane butted up ganja, was actually like right when I started pretty much. So I had little to no experience, and I also did not know how fucking potent that shit was. Like, you could smell that shit like half a mile away sometimes. God forbid if you're like, I don't know, a room over, which is exactly what ended up happening. My friend brought some over, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's totally cool, let's light up in my room. We open up the window. They also open up the window in the living room, so all the smoke goes from my room straight to the living room. And all you hear is my mom scream out, I smell reefer! So she marches to my bedroom, kicks open the door, and I just remember seeing her, looking up, and then seeing nothing but smoke covering the entire ceiling. So not only did I not know how strong it was in terms of smelling and how noticeable it is, but I also didn't know how hotboxing worked. So I didn't realize my mom was walking in straight into a hotboxed room, which I thought the window would be enough, but I guess it wasn't. My friend's just like, bro, what the fuck? You told me it was cool. And I'm like, I thought it was. Isn't it so nice to be dumb and stupid and be able to laugh about it? I have another serious topic to discuss, and that is the topic of butt stuff. Butts are delicate areas and they should be approached with caution. Like, I don't think it should hurt when a woman goes to sit on your lap, right? But that being said, booties are for aesthetic purposes only. It is not for sticking things into. I don't care how persuasive she is or how drunk you are. Your twig and giggleberries shouldn't have dingleberries, and buttholes shouldn't be on the menu as a potential food item. You're just asking for pink eye, by the way, because some people live in the mentality of every hole is a goal, and some people are willing to live out their entire life seeking out that booty hole. I mean, if you prepare properly and do what you're supposed to do, there's always room for nuanced discussion, I should say. But I mainly ask this because people say I'm weird that I'm not into butt stuff. But I guess let me know, yay or nay, for the subject of butt stuff. If you're into it, power to you, I guess, but I just can't do it, man. So if you find yourself consistently pooping blood like me, I may have a solution for you. And if you've seen me before, you know this is canon. Like, this is established lore. I've been pooping blood for years, and now you can't unknow that. I just decided for shits and giggles, I'm just gonna smoke some pot, why not, it's been a while. And ever since I started smoking, I eat more, I shit more, and not a single drop of blood. I don't know how it works, don't ask me. I'm not a biological science chemist wizard, so I don't know how it works. But it works for me, and it might work for you, there's hope. And by the way, I'm not vouching for this, like this isn't like some weird paid sponsorship or something. Actually, I don't know why I'm doing this. Why am I doing this? I don't know, I'm confused and paranoid. It's a side effect of the cannabis. But hey, problems don't exist if you don't remember them. So I don't know what possessed me to think about this, but don't ask questions you don't want the answers to, I guess. If you could like modify a part of your body, or like add an attachment to it in some way, shape, or form, like what would you do? Do you want to keep it classy and have like a switchblade arm or something? Maybe you want to go a bit more of a fun route and go with a bionic wiener or something. Or maybe for shits and giggles, just throw a laser beam on your head. And no, it can't be full body, it has to be a specific part. Because in my head, I think about it like a tutorial in a video game, right? Where you go to pick your primary loadout. Where it's like, alright, you get one attachment, what do you want? So think wisely, my friend. Does anyone wonder about random things throughout the day like I do? Like I'll just look down and be like, damn, why is my dick so big? Which in my case, it definitely doesn't make sense. Because my dad had an average sized dick at best. And my mom had a pretty small dick too. So I don't know where I get it from, I guess I'm just lucky. If you ask me, the best cooks are cooks that by themselves are decent, but there's a hint of desperation. Because desperate people are the best at everything. Because they're willing to do whatever it takes because they're desperate. Put it this way, you want the best meal of your life? Just go to a random town, look for a random hole-in-the-wall restaurant, make sure you find a cook, eyes are dilated, probably a little sweaty, maybe 1,000-yard stare, who knows? I'm telling you, the best cooks are the ones going through crack withdrawals, or strung out on heroin after a 3-day bender. Because you hear people say all the time, you can taste emotions through your food. So you can taste what went on in the chef's mind as they cook. What emotions they felt. And I'm telling you, when that strung out crackhead cooks you dinner, you can taste that there was a lot on that cook's mind. Literally every moment of their life was thought about and felt as they made that food. And it's delicious. So I think one drawback about being attractive
is probably no matter what you do, you're not going to be able to separate yourself from your looks. Like, probably in a good 90% of situations, it's going to be perceived first before your career or hobbies. Like, you could be the doctor that cures cancer, but then when they see you, they'll be like, did you see that doctor that cured cancer? Damn. It especially sucks in today's society where it feels like everyone's pretty much waiting on you to get naked. Like, you could be the most skilled musician ever, and they'll be like, all right, that's cool and all, but when are you going to get naked? They're also more friendly too, I think, sometimes, right? I feel like you could usually go to them with some weird shit. Because having to go through your entire day where you're pretty much feeling like you're walking around naked because everyone's picturing you naked, anything after that is just kind of whatever, right? So when I was around 15 or 16, I had a party with some homeless people. More specifically, there were those group of train hoppers that would go around following their favorite bands around their concerts and venues throughout the country. But yeah, one of my homegirls was at a concert and brought them back. They were like, yo, if you got a place for us to chill, I'll bring some party favors and we can party. And they were like, bet. So they got me over there to join. I called my sister over there to join, and we just partied down. And it was the first time I actually got officially high as well. Like, I had just started drinking and smoking a little bit prior, so I'd never been officially fucked up until that night. But it was super fun. I woke my sister up at 3 a.m. doing karaoke with them, and then one of the girls that was staying at the place we were partying at actually just decided to up and leave and marry one of the homeless dudes. So that was pretty funny. My friend's mom was pissed off, though, when she came in that morning and there were just homeless people sleeping everywhere. But she told me I was fine, though. So for my personal opinion, I'd have to say it was a pretty fun night.
Here's how to know if you're ugly. And yes, I'm speaking from experience. When you go out in public and people treat you like you've done something wrong, even though you haven't. Or if you say and do something and someone retorts with I don't know, it's just weird when you do it. So if I reply, oh, so it would be okay if I was more attractive, right? You can just see their brain spiraling out of control, trying to invent a reason or to cope. And it's just like, bro, I get it, okay? I don't like ugly people either. If ugly people didn't exist, the world would be a much more beautiful place. That's just statistics. So it's like, bro, just be honest with me. So if you're ugly and watching this and just now finding out, you have my condolences. I love pretending to have Tourette's. Like if I'm out in public and waiting in line somewhere, I'll just randomly and aggressively turn around to the person behind me and just be like, you fucking bitch, I fucking hate you, I hope you fucking die, no, I'm sorry, I love you. And just flip the script on them emotionally really quickly. For some reason, it makes me really happy. And then I lick their butthole and French kiss them.
I bet most of you won't even listen to what I have to say. Acting like you're so busy, apparently, as you're watching short-form content. Well, excuse me for getting in the way of you pretending to do shit. Are you still listening? Good, that's all I had to say. You know how people will just bring their dogs into stores or other public places and just be like, oh, that's my seeing eye dog, even though it's fucking not. But it's just a good excuse to get away with bringing your animals places. But you ever stop to wonder if people try to get away with other dumb shit by using that excuse? Like they'll just bring their cat to the gym and just be like, what, this is my listening ear cat. It listens for me so I can interact with my environment efficiently. Like, okay, bro. Or just waltz into Walmart and just be like, yo, this is my walking leg horse. I think it's more effective than a wheelchair if you ask me. I don't know, I kind of like it in retrospect. It would be fun but chaotic, which suits me to a T. Well, my 4th of July adventure started early, so I'm on the way home from work and I hit a checkpoint. Let me explain to you why this is a big fucking deal for me. So I went to work today, loaded to the teeth with fucking party favors, because I was going to give them out as presents today to some employees. Well, they didn't show up today, so guess who turned into the Bud Bandit on the way home? So I hit the checkpoint, no big deal, I'm always super respectful when it comes to officers. So he looks at my ID, looks back at me, looks at my ID, and I'm like, oh great, he's doing the whole, yeah, this guy looks super fucking sketchy type epiphany, which I completely understand because, I have a mirror. So he tells me to pull over to the side of the road, and I'm just like, fuck me, dude. But as I'm pulling out there, in my head, I'm just like, bro, I fucking knew it. I'm just like, watch, I'm going to hit the only fucking checkpoint on my way home, and I'm going to be fucking loaded, and I'm going to go to prison. So I'm calling up my roommate, trying to get our paperwork together, just for him to be like, alright, cool, so I let you off with a warning, you have a passenger headlight out. I'm just like, bro, don't fucking do that to me, dude. I'm sitting here looking around, contemplating if I should start throwing shit out the fucking window. But he let me go with a warning and sent me on my merry way. Happy 4th of July. But no, thankfully everything worked out, thank fucking God. But yeah, nothing like an early start to a Harold and Kumar type adventure, right?
So I officially just saw the most disgusting thing in my life. And that was after I looked in the mirror. So my cat threw up a fur ball. I know, already bad enough, right? And those are the serious business ones too. Those are the ones that come out looking like turds. Oh, speaking of, my cat just jumped and tried to kill me. Then the dog comes out of nowhere and immediately just eats it, no hesitation. Oh no, that's not even the worst part. She then begins chewing on it like bubblegum, and then realizing she can't actually chew it completely and swallow it because it's hair, and then she just spits it out right in front of me. The only thing that would have made it worse is if she would have thrown up right afterwards, and then ate that. And for the first time since watching Two Girls in One Cup, I actually wanted to vomit.
So I got off of work today and decided to hit up a Wendy's. Little did I know it would be the combo of my life.
So I pulled in, got me a $6 biggie bag, replaced the drink with the vanilla frosty, and then she gets on the intercom a little hesitant, and she's just like, your total's gonna be, 666. Please come to the second window? Like, she sounded genuinely terrified and worried. And of course, me being me, the second I pulled up to the window, I'm like, yo, was that total actually 666? And she's like, please don't remind me of the 666. And I'm just like, ma'am, I'd hate to tell you this, but I'm gonna be coming here every single night from now on. So now I can plan my dinners effectively now. Because I know if I go to that Wendy's, my total is gonna be 666. And you know what? I'm okay with that. Just a friendly reminder that you're gonna die and we're all fucked. And I seen that shit happen too. I seen that shit happen in real life. People be dying, man. That shit's brutal. It looks like they're locked in an eternal moment of pain and sadness. It doesn't look good, so get your shit together, y'all. Alright, I think that was a pretty good pep talk. Enjoy the rest of your day now. So warning labels on specific items and products are a constant reminder that human beings are both creative and stupid. Because when you see a warning label on something that says, hey, don't do this, you're like, why would you even have to put that on there? Well, rest assured, enough people have done it. And nowadays, with companies issuing apologies and desperate to keep a positive image, I'm surprised more warning labels haven't been popping up, or companies doing apology emails and tweets. Like, I'm waiting for it. Or like a specific knife manufacturer brand was constantly being found at crime scenes where people were just randomly stabbing babies. Like, would they then have to put a specific warning label on their product and say, hey, you know, our knives are not to be used to stab babies, and like tweet out an apology? I'm honestly waiting for it. As dystopian as society is becoming, I'm surprised things like that haven't become more commonplace. This is normally where I add something at the end to troll you, but it's pretty hard to say something to follow up a joke about stabbing babies. I think I've said enough. So I forgot how awesome nighttime walks are. If it's been a while since you've been on like a little nighttime adventure, I highly suggest it. I was just bored and munched out, decided to walk up to the store on a little midnight stroll, and it was fucking magical. Everything was just so serene and beautiful. Like, I can't enjoy shit during the day, man. The sunlight is too strong. At least at night, the colors that are out are like poppy, and you could absorb a bit of like the ambiance and details in a different way. Now, don't get me wrong, some of y'all might think it's kind of liminal, and it kind of is, when you're walking down the streets and you don't see any cars or anything. But I don't know, I always found that soothing as well. Alright, so who else has a fun story about the first time the vitamins TH and C affected them? Go on, share them with the class. It's kind of like losing your virginity, right? It could leave a lifelong impression, to say the least. I remember I had to try it a few times. And then the first time it actually affected me, I was actually partying with some homeless people one night. One of my friends just randomly decided to invite some homeless people over to our house and party. Next thing you know, we're smoking, drinking, doing karaoke. I'd say it was a pretty fun night. They're cool dudes. So I'm also a huge advocate of adding violence and steroid use into sports. Think about it, right? It could be its own separate category. And in that category, you can do as much steroids as you could physically handle. Then at the end of whatever sports game it is, there's going to be an elimination-style tournament where the opposing teams fight each other to see who's the strongest. You can't lie to me and say that's not hype as fuck. Like, could you imagine? Like, someone gets kicked out of the NFL for steroid use, and then you're like, oh, whatever happened to that guy? And then you find out he's on this other football team, and he's on twice as many steroids, and at the end of the match, he's going to get into a fist fight with someone. I'm not really into sports, but if that's what sports is going to turn out to be, sign me the fuck up, dude. So does anyone else remember their very first memory? Or what your very first thought was when you came into existence? I think it's kind of cool how people deal with coming into existence. I still remember remembering my first memory. I remember walking out of my house, and I look up at the sky, or it's called the sky, I don't know what the fuck it actually is though, I just know it's called one. And I'm looking around and there's grass and trees everywhere. And our trailer park, like on the entire left side, was pretty much an open field where all the kids would play. So I remember just looking around at everything, just losing my shit, trying to figure out what's going on. And my sister was playing with the neighbors, but they see me just standing there and they come up to me and they're like, what are you, stupid or something? And I just remember looking at them, mind-boggled and panicked. Just like, how am I the only one asking questions? How are you not asking questions? Do you not see this? This is crazy. But I'm stupid, okay. And I found out what stupid was that day too. So yeah, that was my very first interaction. How did it go for y'all? Well, I hope your introduction to consciousness was better. I find words to be super funny, but you have to be careful with how you use them now, you hear me? Like, depending on how you say them, it can mean something completely different. Like, if you take the word bike, followed by curious, on paper it looks like someone curious about bikes. But if you say it out loud too fast, it means you're down to have a good time. Or if you put two words together, it could escalate quickly. Like if you have a place called Penn Island, but then you combine the two, suddenly it's not looking like too good of a tourist attraction. Or if you split a word apart, right? So if you take the word therapist, and you break it up into two words, you've got, well, this guy. So words can be funny, but definitely be careful how you use them, okay? I used to microwave babies for a part-time job, and my full-time job was delivering an undisclosed meal to orphanages throughout the community. It really feels good to give back to society. So I decided to get on TikTok for the first time in my life, just to see what it's all about. And since I've been on, all I see are bitches with big titties making food. Am I using it right? I feel like I'm using it right and wrong all at the same time. I'm trying to at least pretend to be a good Christian over here, but I'm a man and I'm a stoner. It's not fair to show me that shit, man. I feel targeted. I'm going through a phase where I think I miss retro activities. Like, I just miss throwing things at stuff. That, energy and confidence you get from it for, no reason. Just bam, take that and shit. We've mastered the art of throwing. What, we got toilet paper, eggs, or if you're feeling spicy, you could wrap a $5 bill around a rock and just throw it at a homeless person. Maybe some baloney frisbees. Back when things were fun and less violent, Or should I say just violent enough? So I've been having tons of fun doing these little shorts. And yeah, I'd like to eventually do more long-form content, but we'll eventually get to there. As for now, with my limited time and energy, I'm just having a blast just kind of casually recording stuff. But no, it's fun. I just kind of like improvising and saying a whole bunch of bullshit. Name one other VTuber that could keep up with me of just saying random shit on the spot. I bet you can't. And by the way, for those of you still waiting, no, I'm not going to show you my tits. Sorry, I had to put that in there. But no, it's getting to the point to where it's so much fun doing this that doing anything else just feels kind of lame. But for the most part, after I record, edit, and send a video out, I'm just kind of sitting there like, well, what the fuck do I do now? So if I can build upon this, I think I'll be living my best life. And for those that keep watching me to see what crazy shit I'll say, I appreciate the fuck out of you. My humor can be a lot to handle, so I appreciate you. So it should come of no surprise to anyone that I was a terrible student. Don't get me wrong, grade-wise I was always top of my class. But personality-wise, I was a fucking nightmare. Put it this way, right? First day of starting a new high school, me and a couple of my buddies decided to skip. Ended up getting caught, of course, and that's when we found out it was built like a fucking prison. So because it was a new school, they didn't really have anything set in place, right? So what they ended up doing was just throwing us into a random-ass classroom with a random-ass coach and calling it ISS. And this coach, for some reason, just kept falling asleep. To the point to where we could time it right. We're like, alright, he started falling asleep, so we got about 10 to 15 minutes to fuck with. So whenever he would go to sleep, we would just end up going through the hallways, hitting up the snack machines, go to the bathroom, maybe smoke a cigarette. And we spent 3 days like that. It was pretty fun. But then later on, another student was telling me, they're like, yeah, that coach actually had a form of narcolepsy, right? I was like, oh, really? Oh, that makes a lot of sense then. And because I'm fucked up, that made it twice as funny to me. So it should be a surprise to no one that I was a terrible influence growing up. I mean, I still am now, but even more so then. But I was always stuck in this awkward in-between of how to deal with me. Because as a parent, you don't exactly want your kid to have a friend like me, So it's kind of hard to know what to do, right? But when the troublemaker kid is also one of the most pleasant people to be around, it's kind of tricky to know how to handle it. So it's rather between the super nice troublemaker, or you could let them hang out with their other friends who just so happen to be absolute assholes. So usually what happens is the parents will just kind of act dumb to my behavior, and then I'll just end up selling them some weed to say thank you. It's all about knowing how to communicate, So one of the biggest questions you could ask a guy is if he could suck his own ding-a-ling, would he? And don't let them lie to you, almost every guy has tried. So here's the thing, I tried, but then I stopped myself, because then I remembered what the end result was going to be, and it led to an even bigger question. And that question is, would you be willing to blow a load in your own mouth? And I refuse to put myself in a situation where I have to answer that question. So I decided to not do it. But if you can do it and follow through with it, power to you then, I guess, brother. That takes dedication. It's so funny, growing up being the only white dude at my church, I feel like I developed a little bit of reverse racism. Not in a bad way, so chill the fuck out. In a funny social way. Whenever I'm with black people, first of all, I call them brothers and sisters. I just feel safe. Because you'll hear the stereotypical trope, right? Of an older brother talking to a white dude hello sir, how are you doing today? And then the second they see another brother or sister, they're like, oh yo, what up fam? It's funny because I do that same shit. I do not feel safe in a room of just white people. But I'll talk hey, how's everyone doing, And then the second a brother or sister walks in, it's my heart just elevates and I get a sigh of relief, oh, thank God. And I'll immediately go up to him and be like, what's good with you, brother? How you living? And just immediately set in. But yeah, you best believe if there's family around, I light up. So I'm just gonna say it. I'm tired of going out in public and seeing all these slutty, skanky dressed moms walking around with their children, pretty much making their small kids follow right behind them and just stare into their butt-cracking hoo-ha the whole time. And yet they wonder why they're gonna grow up all fucked up. It's first of all, your time is up dressing like that. The second you start a family, you should be learning to dress up, not down. Though apparently it's starting to become a normal mentality that if a person's attractive, they want to have a kid early so that they can keep to a beauty standard and be a hot parent. They'll be like, oh, I want to be a hot mom. It's great start. You want to start a life, but you're making it about yourself.
So I've come to realize I'm used to living like a ghetto piece of shit. So at the last place I was at, the shower was all fucked up, right? So you actually had to sit down to take a shower. But they had a big ass tub and a big ass shower head. And we also had endless hot water to boot, with the OG water heaters. So ironically enough, it kind of felt like heaven after a while. So now that I'm back in a normal house and I could take a normal shower like a normal human being, I kind of find myself missing it. So even now, sometimes I'll just grab the shower head, sit down Indian style, post up. It probably shouldn't feel as good as it does, but it does for me, okay? It kind of reminds me of the showers you see people take in horror movies. Like they witness a tragic, horrific crime, and for some reason the reflex is to give them their own, personal little blankie, and a cup of hot chocolate or coffee or something. And then, right afterwards, you'll see them, sitting down in the shower, in the fetal position crying. Those are the types of showers I like for some reason. Those are the most cozy. So if you're wanting to go off to college or trade school, but you're not too sure on what to learn specifically, I highly suggest welding because you do learn a lot, and it actually is super fun too. But what they don't tell you is that there's a chance that it can turn you into Mario, because you gotta think you're messing with metal goop all day. Hot metal goop. That if you're welding something above your head, there's a chance that metal goop will fall right on your arm. That'll give you the flower power up and allow you to shoot fireballs. If you're lucky, it won't go in your sleeve, it'll usually just stick to your sleeve so you can just sling it off. It's super fun trying to aim it and throw it at your friends, on a day's work. But yeah, that's going to be a common occurrence, so have fun with it and get used to it. So has anyone else noticed the abundance of goth girls lately? Which I'm so old now and out the game, I thought they were mimes. I'm just like, damn, look at all these fucking sexy ass mimes up in here. But I was like, oh no, wait, that's right, they're gothic, I guess. Yeah, I guess that works. So it made me realize, where's the line in sexiness? Because it's all black and white makeup and aesthetics, right? So what's the difference, really? I guess there's a huge important difference between a sexy goth and a sexy mime. Sexy goths are hot. Sexy mimes are just batshit insane and probably escaped from somewhere. But realistically, they both look the same from behind, so who really cares? So I've come to realize it's so hard to relate to people whenever they talk about their school days. Because it's been confirmed that me and my family were from a movie dimension prior to adulthood. I mean, all I ever did in school was sleep, smoke pot, and sell it to everyone at school. But simultaneously, they kept trying to throw me in accelerated or AP courses or whatever you call them nowadays. Which was fucking annoying, so the start of every year I'd have to get them to pull me out of those classes to put me in the normal ones with my other friends. Because I told them, and I quote, I refuse to do more work for no reason. I'd rather take it easy and smoke pot with my friends. But yeah, I definitely should have gotten way more trouble than I did. But if you grew up in a rough school district, with notoriously low test scores and grades, if you've got a decent head on your shoulders, they'll do some crazy shit to keep you in that school. I think it'd be pretty funny if I ended up ruining someone's life one day. Is that bad for me to say? Like if someone takes what I do too seriously and does something stupid? Or if I end up ruining someone's career simply because they casually associate with me? I think that's pretty powerful. Or if someone threatens the lives of my family over a dumb joke I make. Like my mom will call me and be like, yeah, so someone threatened to kill me today. I'm like, oh yeah? She's like, yeah, someone didn't like that joke you said about the special needs swinger party orgy. But since my entire family is pretty scuffed like me, I think they'd find humor in it as well. Does anyone else have a reverse charisma stat? Like if you're lying, people think you're telling the truth. And when you tell the truth, people think you're lying. I think what it is because when I'm about to lie, because I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck with this person, I tend to get really excited, and people tend to misinterpret my excitement as confidence. But when I'm telling the truth, I tend to be a lot more hesitant, and trying to remember all the details and organize them, and then relay the information, and I'm just not confident in my memory. Or people think you've done something, and when it turns out you're innocent, they still get mad at you, like, why were you acting so guilty? I don't know, it's super confusing, it's kind of funny though. Alright everyone, can we just agree that problems are a fucking problem? Like, we have to fucking do something about this shit. There are problems that need solved, so they're not problems anymore. I just wanted to say that randomly with no meaning or context, just to see what conclusions people would jump to. Make it fun, fuckers. Just take a fat shit where you stand and be like, what up, dog? Because honestly, I'm in customer service. If a customer just came in, made eye contact with me, and just shit right there on the spot, I just look at him and be like, did you just shit on the floor? And then immediately start laughing and then quit my job. Someone could potentially ruin my life just from shitting right in front of me. That's fucking powerful. So riddle me this, right? You're standing out there in the middle of a busy street, you got your dick in one hand, and you got a walkie-talkie in the other. And that's all I've got for you today. Sorry, I was bored. If you're new, nice to meet you, by the way. I'm Animal. So in case you're not aware, guys name their dicks, or just call them silly things. Because why not? It's fun, right? Like, I named mine Helmet Head, but I'm kind of thinking about changing it because it was funny at first, but I kind of want it to be something more powerful now. Like, I'm thinking something like Crowbar. I think Crowbar would be a badass dick name. But yeah, you can name it literally anything, man. You can just be like, yo, this is my friend Peter, who is also my Peter. It's like, yeah, what you call yours? Oh, I call mine my tallywhacker. Alright, I guess that works. It's kind of old fashioned. It's kind of like schlong, but okay. But yeah, any PP name recommendations, drop them below, I guess. Why not? I'm addicted to the worst game possible, and I regret nothing. So if my upload schedule is kind of slack, I'm not sorry. It gets way too immersive and the lore is ridiculous, and I'm officially too gooned out to care. I've started a new life in this game, where I got thrown onto an island and was forced to build a new home, while pillaging the native population for shits and giggles, forcefully starting a family along the way, where I then used those children as slave labor to help build our new home. And I felt bad for like a second, but it turns out none of the villagers like those kids. It turns out they're complete dickheads and nobody likes them. So I think it evens out. And one of these kids grew up to be an absolute asshole and decided to attack our nicest, hardest working villager for no other reason than jealousy, I assume. So I cut her legs off and banished her from the village. So now I'm in the process of making another one with her mother's sister. So I'm going through a lot right now. And at the end of the night, me and the villagers do a bunch of drugs and throw dancing sex parties. So it's been a fun, wild ride. So I like it. It kind of has the energy of my real life family. So this is a rhetorical question, but am I the only one who thinks about, like, if dicks were on different parts of our bodies? Like, how it would affect sexual intercourse and our interests? I know, it's weird, but it's interesting. Shut up. Like, can you imagine if we had dicks on our noses? Like, I bet you 100% anal would be out the equation. But that's assuming vaginas are in the same place as well, though, right? So, like, cleanliness is going to be a huge deal. But I don't know, upon thinking about it, we might just evolve to like the smells, you know? Or it could be the opposite. We could just shove our noses in and out real quick. Bam, bam, thank you, ma'am, thanks for the baby. And I'm sure they'd probably rename sneezing to baby showers. I don't know, I think it's just a fun little mind experiment to muse about. And no, I'm not suicidal. Is it bad that I wish one day, unironically, someone would call me a cracker? Hasn't happened yet, and I'm a little sad. Now, I've been called a honky. I wasn't ready for that one. I totally forgot that word even existed. I was just like, wait, did he just call me a honky? And then I roll up my sleeve and look at my arm, and I'm like, yeah, he kind of has a point there. Like, I already have a terrible response time, so I don't think I know what I would do in that situation. Like, if I'm working and a customer just calls me a cracker, out of reflex, I'd probably scream something like, World Star! Or Race War! And just start a riot for shits and giggles. Not even because I actually give a fuck, I just think it would be funny. Besides, if someone called me that, how am I supposed to get mad? I've seen myself in the mirror. I'm a 100% certified, cracker-ass honky muppet. So people ask me about my VTubing model, and some of you might be getting started as well, so I figured I may as well shed some light on it. So I figured you're of one of two mentalities, right? You're either your model is your personality, or your model reflects your personality. Because, you know, people want to think about business, you know? And when it comes to branding, having a model be a foundation is pretty efficient, you know? But when it comes to me, I honestly really just don't give a fuck. Like, I picked this one because it was cheap, cute, and customizable. That's really all there is to it. Then again, I don't think of VTubing like most other people, I guess. It's really just a vector for me to communicate. But yeah, even though I was just kind of using this as kind of like a intro to VTubing, like I said, now this model kind of reflects my personality. So it's just like now I can't picture this VTubing model without my voice. And that's really the power of personality, and if you want to shape it and change it later, that's all up to you. Alright, so I think I came up with a new way to monetize war. And I think it'll help country patriotism all at the same time. Alright, so what we need is a war news network. Or the War Network. We just call it the WN. And on it, it's going to have like a screen, almost like Call of Duty, right? And on it, it's going to be keeping stats of everything happening in the war. Like, it's just going to have like a B-roll with records. Like, it'll be like, United States, 5 million headshots. Boom, headshot. In Venezuela, 1 million self-sides were confirmed. 1 million mistakes were made. I feel like if they're keeping track of stats in real time, it'd be a lot more engaging. Like, yo, let's go, America's in the lead with 5 million kills, woo! And, you know, when you see action like that on TV, you kind of want to join it. So, hey, you know, it might help with getting the youngins back in it. Which is what the rich people want anyways, for us poor people to get ourselves killed, right? So I'm going to let you guys in on some man shit that no one likes to talk about. Because people underestimate our subconscious primal instincts that we still have. And I'll give you 2 examples so you know I have a dick. Number 1, when a dude's out and about and he sees another dude in public, whether it be friend or foe, our reflexive instinct whenever we see another dude is to ask ourselves, alright, can we beat this dude in a fight? Because if shit hits the fan, we need to know if we could deal with ourselves. And or deal with them, right? And then depending on how we feel about that is how we feel depending on if you're going to be friend or foe or not. Honestly, we don't mean any harm by it, but it is there. And example 2, you're going to love this one. So whenever a dude is out and about in public and sees a female, out of reflex, even if it's just kind of glancing at them for a millisecond, instinctively the question pops up into our brain. Yes or no? Yes or no to what? You know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. Once again, we don't mean any harm by it. It's not like we're, like, trying to go out of our way to objectify women. You know, it's just a dumb primal thought, but it is there. But yeah, the primal thoughts are there, man. But that's how you can tell the good ones. It's the ones that can control it are the good ones. Or it could just be me being mentally ill. I don't know, let me know, I guess.
So would you ever consider becoming a homewrecker? Be honest. Like, what's the limit? Like, where's the line? Because I know common sense dictates, if someone's likely to cheat on someone with you, they're probably going to cheat again. But if you, like, plan ahead of time for them to break up with them, does that count? And the reflex when you like someone is just kind of be like, all right, who do I have to fucking stomp out? I don't give a fuck. Bring it. Like, fuck them, right? Now, if presented the opportunity, I don't think I would do it, only because I don't have the energy and I don't like drama. Now, however, if I did, I may have to give it a shot just for shits and giggles, because it does sound kind of interesting. Who knows, it might be the next popular sitcom. Alright, so I'm going to give you something to prepare for later on in life. I'm going to go ahead and warn you now, because no one else is going to warn you, because no one else is man enough. But when the day comes and you happen to find a dead body in your house, that's my way of saying that someone you love has died. You probably think that's the worst part, right? Nope, we're just getting started. No, arguably the worst part is immediately afterwards when you have to be the one to tell everyone that they did. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, I wish someone warned me about that shit. Because your brain is probably still mid-processing, trying to cope what's going on. And now you have to process it as you're being the bearer of bad news to everyone. And then you have to witness their reaction. So yeah, that's like super sweet and shit. So yeah, I might want to go ahead and mentally prepare yourself for that shit. Alright, so it's getting bad out there, folks. I seen it myself, alright? I'm working like a normal human being, doing normal human things. And then this chick comes up to me and asks about a product. And this chick, quote unquote, is at least a 30-year-old dressed like a 12-year-old. Like, I'm not talking about small stature coincidence, I'm talking this bitch picked her wardrobe and was cosplaying like a 12-year-old. And the product she was asking me about, get this, is a new product that was recently trending on TikTok. Yay! So I heard that and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be fucking great. So I actually did help her try to find it just because I was bored. And it's bad when I'm interacting with you and I'm like, yeah, this person's a little off. But we're trying to find out what it is, no one knows, and I'm like, it's brain rot, don't worry about it. But it's happening, man. People are just straight up LARPing as 12-year-olds now. We are all truly fucked. So when I was in high school, I may have inadvertently joined a gang. Well, I may have befriended one. Let me explain. So there's this dude in high school that I used to get weed off of, but he was kind of weird and lame, even to my standards. So one day he brought me to his main dude. So I went in there, met him, ended up meeting his mama, and it turns out his mama was actually the main dealer. So like the next day, I was just like, alright, I want to try to go to this dude's house to see if I can get any. So I get there, and luckily his mama answers, and she's just like, oh, Bubba, what's going on, baby? He's like, hey, mama, what's good? And yeah, she ended up becoming like my best friend. Like, she used to trim the split ends out of my hair, because she also did a barber shop out of her house. Like, we would practice singing gospel songs together in the living room. I even helped paint their living room a little bit. But fast forward about a year, and I'm talking with one of my other friends and pointed the house, and I'm like, yeah, that's where I get my shit from. And he's just like, yo, that's one of the main leaders of folk in the area, right? So then I start having like a Kill Bill flashback moment. So I somehow inadvertently became all chummy with the gang family, apparently. But after that, next time I saw him, I was just like, yo, so I heard you're into some fun stuff, huh? And he's like, what you mean? I'm like, dude, I know, it's all good. But I told him, I'm like, shit, if it'll help you out, if someone's claiming they're part of your shit and they're not, I can just get their names just to be sure. And he's just like, shit, I'd appreciate that. And I'm just like, yeah, no problem, bro, just looking out. But those were super fun times. I miss you, mama. So it's kind of hard to follow up a video about me offering to show my tits to everyone. It is what it is, I guess. So I decided to go back and look at my old videos out of context, and holy fuck, I am screwed. Like, the amount of weird fucking titles and topics feels just so off the wall and weird, it's like a 60s coke bender. Nah, real shit, if you haven't actually gone back and look, I'm sure you will find a title of something that gets your attention. So if I were you, I'd go ahead and check everything out before it gets deleted. So I've become aware of my hatred for doors, which kinda sucks considering they're an essential part of everyday life. But doors are my arch nemesis. The first reason I hate doors is because I'm dumb, and for some reason I can never remember how to lock or unlock a door, or which direction to turn the doorknob. Or if it's a push or pull door, that's always a fun one too. And secondly, I have a weakness for corners, so when you throw a door in the mix, that's just more opportunities for me to get hurt. And I find half-open doors scary. It just looks like a scene from a horror movie sometimes, and I don't like it. But yeah, that's just a few reasons why I hate doors. Maybe some of you will agree, I don't know. So I've come to the conclusion that animals must think we're like wizards or gods. Especially our pets, right? Because all they have to do is just tell us, hey, I'm hungry or thirsty or need attention. And we'll magically just spawn it all, like right on the spot. Especially thinking from like an animal's point of view, right? Just the primal instinct to survive. So mentally their mind's racing like, alright, I gotta hunt or I gotta do this, I gotta do that. And then they look at us, turn their heads for 0.2 seconds, turn it back, and we have an entire plate of food, a bowl of water, and we're giving them head pats. Honestly, if I was an animal and then I saw another being just kind of like snap their fingers and then just spawn what they want into existence, I'd be like, you know what? I'm sticking with this guy. So you guys want to imagine something truly horrifying? And it's not even something you have to imagine. Go look up a video of someone out in the middle of the ocean, and watch the camera pan around. What do you see? Absolutely fucking nothing. That's how I know y'all motherfuckers be taking the land for granted. Because almost no matter where you are on land, there's at least an opportunity for survival. You know, you got potential food, hopefully you can make some water, you know, stuff like that. Scavenge some stuff for shelter, weapons, you know, etc. Or worst case, you could use landmarks to kind of navigate yourself back to society, right? Well, here's the key part of that word, land and landmark. There are no ocean marks. And I've been stranded broke down on boats in the middle of bumfuck nowhere before. When your ass realizes you're stuck in the middle of fucking nowhere in the middle of the ocean, and realizing you've been force-fed to Mother Nature, it's like your very existence has a moment to where it just realizes that you are truly fucked. So if ghosts end up being real, how would that affect insurance agencies, you think? Like, do you think they would, like, freak the fuck out trying to cover their asses? I don't know how it works. I just think it would be funny for a ghost to come back and be like, where's my money? Or imagine if you buy a haunted house, right? Like, whenever you're doing the little reviews with the insurance companies, they'll be like, well, it seems you have one ghost here, but there could be another one coming in. So we're going to have to charge you an additional fee for ghost insurance on your current belongings, as well as some ghost repellent to help with the potential incoming ghost. Like, I wonder how business would be. Do you think it would be really good? I think it'd be pretty good. I think the funniest part about cryptids or mythological creatures or supervillains, you know, you would think they would be on, like, their own tier of existence, right? Like, they would have a lot more interesting shit going on. Yet for some reason, they always end up reverting to petty crime. Which, if you ask me, leads to some funny as fuck situations. Like the situation with the Mothman, bro fucking stole someone's catalytic converter. Or you got supervillains with, like, infinite money, and yet for some reason they're always trying to, like, rob banks or pickpocket people or some shit. It makes you realize there can be such thing as a funny crime. Because who would believe you? And if you did try to tell too many people, they'd probably kill you. So y'all remember when we used to watch the Jetsons and we used to think we'd have flying cars and shit by now? I would love to time travel just to go back and talk to one of those people. So, like, what are you up to in the future? What year is it? 2026? Have y'all made those flying cars yet? Like, where's technology at there? No, we're gonna focus on making sex bots, and we're dropping all the world's resources into these supercomputers to give those sex bots emotions, and to scam other people. They'd be like, well, okay, but what about medical science at least? Have y'all created those, like, magic food pills that just fill you up immediately? Nah, bro. We're making pills that make you feel like you've eaten something even though you've eaten nothing. In fact, you won't feel much of anything. They're called antidepressants. That we're scientifically trying to create ways to get extra fat, dumb, and horny. They'd be like, wow, the future looks pretty bleak, huh? I'd be like, yeah, honestly, it doesn't get any better than where you're at right now. And yes, I'm just joking, okay? I love sex bots and food. So you want to know a big reason why I actually picked a female avatar? Here, hold on one sec. Alright, now that the unoriginal elementary school level jokes are out of the way, can we continue? So the biggest reason is actually why I pick female characters in, like, RPGs and shit too. Cause think about it, right? You're gonna be grinding for probably 8 to 12 hours a fucking day, right? If you're, like, hard in on the game. And you think I want to sit there for 8 to 12 hours a day and just look at some dude's ass? Really? Cause I'm a dude. I've been a dude a long time now. My whole life, in fact. I know what it's like to be a dude, alright? I'm a 6-foot hairy big dick dude, alright? So let's say we mix it the fuck up a little bit, yeah? And I can admit that I have a weakness for cute things, and we all do, so just go ahead and admit it. And for some reason, a guy's voice coming out of a female character really pisses people off. Like, to a strange degree, and I find it funny. It's kind of the same reason why I don't fix the halo on my neck. See how it clips through it? I'm keeping it like this because I know for some reason it really pisses people off. Because it really is an easy fix. But, at the same time, easy comments. So am I the only one that whenever I see a cop or a cop car, I immediately shit my pants? Knowing full well that I haven't done anything wrong in years, but something about seeing a cop makes you question your existence. Like if I see a cop on the road, I'm like, oh crap, am I speeding? Or even if I'm at work and a cop comes in, I'm like, why are y'all here? I didn't do anything wrong. Like the second I see one, I just assume I'm going to go to jail. But I think it's mainly cop cars, because every time I talk with a cop, it's usually pretty chill. Because cops see some shit. So if you want a cool conversation, talk to a cop. But the second I initially see one roll up in their cop car, my brain immediately gives me a game over screen. So because no one asked, I decided to share my musical taste. It's just going to be a generalized section of hard rock, metal, all that shit. Then maybe in my next one I'll do like a hip-hop, rap, R&B one. In no particular order, I'm just listing what I like. So I guess we should kick it off with the big four. That's all the OG thrash metal bands like Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, and Anthrax. Metallica and Megadeth got me into thrash metal, Slayer made me stay. And actually, I haven't listened to much Anthrax. I need to go back and listen to them. I'm starting to open up to the more punk feel. But I felt like I had to include them with the other three or else I kind of feel like an asshole. Then next up, we got Primus. They're goofy, fun, way too good at their fucking instruments. I find them inspiring, and they have a god-tier rhythm section. And don't underestimate Larry Lalonde. Next up, we got a hard-hitting one. We got Gojira. Death metal with a good snare tone. You can't beat it. And once again, instrumentally, they're just fucking top tier. Next up, we got System of a Down. I don't think I need to explain System of a Down, but if you haven't listened to System of a Down, they're one of those bands to where you could listen to every single one of their albums front to back, and it all feel like one solid song and experience. while also kind of being like Primus, crazy, goofy, and good at what they do. And for the last one, it's actually a recent one. Well, recent for me, the album came out in 92. But I listened to Helmet and I'm just like, God damn, dude. I'm like, why did it take me so long to listen to this? If I had listened to this earlier in my life, it may have changed my view of things. But I'm glad I got to it and it's one of my top albums of all time now. So if you haven't listened to their In the Meantime album, I highly suggest it. But yeah, that's just some off the top of my head that I constantly find myself revisiting. Hopefully the callbacks brought some nostalgia from some of y'all. So yeah, all I did was get high and play games with customers today. That's what I did at work. What did you do today? Dead ass though, probably the best day at work I ever had in my life. That's legit all I did. We got this new app thingy for our store, so whenever someone hooks it up, I'm just like, spin this wheel, bitch! And they get to spin the wheel and get a free item. So legit, my job for a couple hours was just to fuck with customers and get them to laugh. I like how whenever there's a problem at the store with customers, they just throw me at them. I think I'd be a pretty good asset in politics and government. What do you think? You're getting into some shit, need a distraction? Just send me at them. Here are some random dumb names for bands I came up with. Rectal Anarchy, Clitlock, I Designed a Bear to Look Like My Dad, The Sink Pissers, Handy-Capable Adults, City-Dwelling Aborigines, The Muff Divers, I Jerk Off in My Kitchen, Leaving Spy Cameras in My Roommate's Bedroom, Shitting on My Neighbor's Car, Walking Around the Neighborhood Naked and Getting Put on a List, Cousin Fucker. Wait, that was one time, okay? Oh wait, what were we talking about? So this might be a hot take, but am I the only one that finds someone who's able to live a double life kind of impressive? Like, low-key, what the fuck? Show me your time management skills. And especially nowadays where it feels like life is kind of optimized, you know? So that means they got that shit down to the fucking minute. Now, don't get me wrong, that's some fucked up shit, and you shouldn't be living double lives. You know, but damn, how the fuck do you do it? I can barely live a single life, and you're living double? I mean, back in the day, it must have been easier, right? Because you could legit have a family and then start a new one like a few miles away, and they might not ever meet each other. It just makes me wonder, right? Like, if they use their powers for good, I wonder what they could accomplish. But they're not good. That's why they live double lives, and they're gonna go to hell. So I failed to realize how seriously people took dick pics. Like, I just thought it was a meme, but apparently that's some real shit. I mean, I've never received one or sent one, but, you know, just saying, you know, word on the streets. I mean, one time one of my buddies was confused I had to hook up with a girl, so I told him to send her a dick pic, which he did, and then he lost his virginity that night, you know, so just saying it might work. So now that women are aware of the mass bombardment and variety of dick pics that are out there, I know guys are going to get weird and they're eventually going to try to find ways around it. Like, they're going to start manipulating their attention spans. Like, it's just going to be the start of a video and it's going to be a cat and she's going to be like, oh, look, it's a cute little kitty. And then after about 5 seconds of watching the kitty be cute, the camera pans to the side and all you see is a close-up of a dude's junk. Or it'll be like a slideshow meme. Like, when you catch your friend doing something embarrassing. When your friend catches you doing something embarrassing. Boom, dick. Give it time. I know people, it'll happen. So am I the only one getting genuinely worried about how bad people's fetishes are becoming? Like, we're casting a super wide net now, aren't we? Now it's like people's thirst is unquenchable and unobtainable. Like, if you were to ask anyone not too long ago and bring up the idea of like a sex robot, right? We'd be like, hell yeah, dude, that's fucking peak humanity right there. We get a big booty, busty housewife, makes us sandwiches, etc. And we'd be content with that idea. Now if you were to bring it up to someone, like, hey man, did you hear about this new line of sex robots that are coming out? These motherfuckers would have follow-up questions. They'd be like, okay, so when you say sex bot, is it in the form of a human, or... It's like, bro, what did you want it to be in the shape of? Now it feels like we're so desensitized that anything human or humanoid just doesn't do it anymore. Now it has to be like some weird animal or inanimate object just to have the potential to get their rocks off. And the sad part is, that's probably still not enough either. It's like they have to constantly invent something on the spot just to get their brains all tingly and fired up to be able to engage physically with anything or anyone. Now, at first glance, don't get me wrong, it's super funny. But when you stop and think about it, it can get pretty scary. Do people still make dead baby jokes? I can't remember the last time I heard one, but I guess how sensitive everyone is nowadays, a lot of people would probably bitch and moan about it. But you know, it's been a while since I did a dead baby joke, so I'll share one of my favorites. What's worse than a trash can full of babies? The one at the bottom. What's worse than that? The one that eats its way to the top. What's worse than that? The one that comes back for seconds. But yeah, I feel like simple shock jokes are going to be making a comeback soon. So the first time I went to a strip club, the dancer actually busted out crying and had an emotional breakdown on stage. But yeah, we had went in the middle of the day, you know, mistake one. But we had only gone there because my sister had an interview lined up to be a cocktail waitress, right? You know, no one believed that shit. So me and my buddy drop her off and we're like, you know what, let's post up. And the dancer comes on the stage playing the most depressing Five Finger Death Punch song and just breaks down and starts crying. The bouncer's eyeballing her, then looking over at the person in charge of the head of the house, looking back at the stripper, trying to decide what to do, but luckily she finishes up her routine and then ends up exiting.
But me and my buddy look at each other and we're like, yep, I think that's a sign. No more strip clubs for us. So if you don't understand the Southern accent, neither do we. Don't feel bad. Southern country accents are just a cesspool of misfit countries in an attempted lingual integration founded by drunk people, probably. And one thing I noticed too is just people mispronouncing things and then no one calling each other out on it. So after a while, we just say words wrong, pretty much on purpose for tradition. And that shit'll piss you off, but you just don't bring it up, that's the rules. Like my friend had a buddy called Mr. Red, and I still don't know to this day if it was Ray, Red, Ren, because he always seemed to say it differently every single time. So a proper country accent is just kind of giving up, honestly. So if you've never played Class of '09 before, I highly recommend it. And just so you're aware, yeah, I come from that period. And yeah, that's way more accurate than it should be. The school systems were pretty fucked up, so I'm gonna go ahead and spitball a few things that my school district did. We used to have fake shootings in middle school. The administrators would put on disguises and use paintball guns to make sure we were following protocol, and just for a laugh, honestly. Let's see, principals sleeping with staff, staff sleeping with staff, male and female coaches making the female classes in gym do weird shit. Like, oh, your shorts are too short? Okay, how about you do some stretches? Yeah, see, they're too short. Knowing full well what they're doing. Faculty sleeping with parents was, of course, an always big one, too. The adults in our town were just kind of down, And to keep things wholesome, here's a little lighthearted one. A few of the teachers in our high school were in cahoots with each other and used to pull pranks on each other during each other's classes. Real shit, like you'll be in English class and you'll just look to the right, and then there'll be the biology teacher sneaking up to the window with a mask on or some shit. So yeah, it was pretty interesting, definitely pretty fun. Kinda fucked up, but hey, we're all a little fucked up. So speaking of chocolate milk and cereal, it reminded me of the very first person I ever hated. It was actually my elementary school principal, believe it or not. So I was at the cafeteria at school one morning, with all the other poor kids for breakfast, and the principal dude just comes right up to my table, sees that I got Cocoa Krispies, and then just pulls out a carton of chocolate milk like he's a fucking magician. And like a magician, he's like, yo, let me show you a trick. And then pours the chocolate milk into my Cocoa Krispies. Which on paper makes sense. And if you were normal, you'd be like, oh, hey, that's pretty cool. Instead, he sees me just look at him with horror and anger in my eyes. Because I'm autistic and I like the interaction between the colors and the flavors of Cocoa Krispies and regular milk. So he just gives me the most awkward shoulder shrug, oops, and then just casually turns around and walks away. So instead of the good interaction he was hoping for, instead he made me feel hate for the first time in my life. And he broke the one rule I have, which is don't fuck with my food. Now I'm gonna hate you for the rest of your life. So who was the first person to find out about butt stuff? I'm curious, how far back was it? Do you think it was like caveman times? To where it's like some caveman speaking to his cave woman in like some ooga booga language? Where he's just like, woman, sex now! Then he just looks at her and points and he's just like, no, I want to use the other one. And she probably did the stereotypical woman thing like, ew, that's gross, what's wrong with you? And he was probably like, well, you don't exactly have a choice, do you? And it made me stop and question stuff too. I'm like, I wonder how much our buttholes evolved to keep up with our nonsense. Because it's inevitable. Every hole is a goal. So eventually our biology has to be like, alright, for some reason these humans love sticking things in their butts. So maybe add an additional mucous membrane or something, So I can't be the only one that finds it entertaining when I see someone freaking out and then someone has the audacity to tell them to calm down. Though really all you're doing is freaking them out more, especially if you tell them to calm down before you tell them, whatever you're about to tell them, that always helps. That was sarcasm, by the way, it makes it worse. It's like when you go to make an emergency call, then they tell you to calm down. It's like, bitch, fuck you and your calmness. I won't be calling you if this wasn't a serious situation. Expect me to be freaking out a little bit. 5 people are dead, why are you freaking out? Chill, dude. If you're telling someone to calm down in a fucked up situation, you're asking to get fucked up yourself. So if you farted and a genie came out, what would you do? Like, I know the reflex is, oh, you summon a genie and you make a wish. But could you really trust a butt genie? I mean, its entire existence is now going to revolve around poop jokes, so its credibility is kinda sus. And also, if a genie comes out of your butt, does that mean technically you gave birth to it? So if I fart and a genie comes out, does that make me a father? So that means I can't make all my wishes, because if I do, my son will disappear. And I can't have that. It looks like me and my butt child genie are here to stay. So I guess it's just the season, but I'm really getting that itch to fish again. And seeing this background doesn't fucking help things. But me being content-brained, I'm like, oh, maybe I could record it and do something with it. But I don't know. Would y'all be interested in like fishing tutorials or just watching me fish and just talk shit? I just highly doubt that a lot of people that are into watching VTubers are also into fishing, I imagine that to be niche. But hey, maybe it'll be cool for a woman audience. They get to see a big, strong, hairy man go fishing and talk about man shit and how he'll provide for them. If that's not a panty dropper, I don't know what is. So yeah, I was a token white guy at an all-black church. Southern Baptist, if you want to be specific. But yeah, it was pretty interesting. So I guess I'd state some differences I saw from what you would call an all-white church. But number one is just the energy. You go to an all-black church, they're going to have good music, food, and friendly environment. For a white church, I only trust the ones with a dedicated band.
Because if they can't plan around the band, they probably can't plan any other events for their community or each other. And the sermons at a white church kind of feel like a cult, if I'm being honest. Just the energy can be oppressive, and a lot of the sermons are pretty basic and old-fashioned. You know, it's just kind of like older textbooks in school. Like, the base criteria is there, but a lot's changed. Whereas, at least at the black churches I've been to, they're a lot more realistic on their sermons. Like, my previous pastor was actually an ex-addict. Turned her life around, became a pastor. And whenever something happens in her life, or if she sees something in real life, she'll try to find a scripture or something from the Bible to help describe it. Actually kind of makes it grounded, useful, and a lot more relevant to everyday life. And when you make a sermon like that, it's a lot easier to put your own humor and personality into it. So that's really what I think white churches lacked, is just personality and refusal to change with the times. But like I said, this is all from my experience. I've been to some white churches, they've been pretty cool. I don't go to church anymore, but if you're looking through churches trying to find me, I gotta stick with my brothers and sisters. So it turns out the YouTuber voice is real, because the more you record, the more you just keep projecting your voice, and you can just hear it from farther away and it just gets louder and louder, and you lose like all sense of volume control. Like, I was already tone deaf enough as it is, I didn't need any more help. But now I catch myself because I do customer service, so I'll be sitting here ringing up customers, essentially yelling at them and aggressively engaging in conversation, which they may or may not have consented into being a part of. Because now if I have a joke, I want you to hear it. I try to keep it under control, but I get excited, okay? I get loud and passionate about shit, okay? I'm sorry.